Even though you have corporatocracy, even though you have dictatorships, even though you have a lot of that still happening on the planet, I think people are becoming way more powerful and able to shape the identity of the species going forward. But I think there's I wouldn't say underground, but there's a lot of people growing in an awareness of taking back their own mind, as I like to say, and seeing greater possibility.
Michael, it's awesome to be with you and to have this chance to talk with you. Thank you.
It's always good to be with you, Tammy.
Here we are at this interesting, critical juncture as a human species. Some people call it a great turning. Other people say this is the great unraveling. This is the beginning of the end of civilization as we know it. So I wanted to start right there. How do you see this time that we're in?
First of all, I always like to break down the difference between the world that we're living in and the planet that we're living on, because they're not synonymous. The planet is Mother Earth. She's alive, Gaia. She has a very high frequency. She's glowing. She's conscious. And then there's the world. The world is the conglomeration of thoughts and feelings and beliefs and perceptions and positionalities that have condensed themselves into human experience. So the world is the world of phenomena. It's always changing. So when you say, is it the unraveling, or is it, what was the other word you used?
The great turning.
The great turning. I think it's both, because I think that the old paradigm is dying. So there's an unraveling of the old world, and there's an emergence of a new world. There's great possibilities are here, and there's more and more people choosing greater possibilities. Now, we know, mystics have said for years that we live in this unitive field of awareness of infinite potential. And you have your quantum scientists now saying we live in a field of infinite possibilities. So I think that we're capable of choosing a higher possibility and not leaving it to default. Fear, doubt, worry, lack, limitation, scarcity, separation from the all. So we're in the middle of both.
Now, I've heard you say the moment is malleable.
Yes.
But I think for a lot of people, they have a sense that as much as they want to impact this moment and help bring in a new vision of possibility, that they don't feel like their contribution is enough, will be enough. The people in power are making decisions that are taking our world, not necessarily the planet, but our world in some pretty terrible directions.
And that is a true assessment in terms of people in power. Greed, a sense of power, over people, definitely with a corporatocracy that basically controls elections and governments. But at the same time, people have a tremendous amount of power. As people are extracting themselves from seeing themselves as powerless. And so we're living in a time, I think, in which more and more people are waking up to how powerful they are. And even though you have corporatocracy, even though you have dictatorships, even though you have a lot of that still happening on the planet, I think people are becoming way more powerful and able to shape the identity of the species going forward. But I think there's I wouldn't say underground, but there's a lot of people growing in an awareness of taking back their own mind, as I like to say, and seeing greater possibility.
Now let me ask you a core question. I can see sitting in a state of visionary love, feeling and seeing it in my mind, and feeling the power of those thoughts from an expanded being. I can feel that, and I think a lot of the people joining us can too.
Yes.
But then we're not on our meditation cushion. We get up, we open our eyes, and we look around and we encounter some type of terrible brutality, gross, vulgar action and hatred. It's like, here's the vision and this state of perfection that I can sit in and feel. And then here's what's actually happening right now, and it's heartbreaking. What do you do with those two different inputs?
Well, what I do is I seek to bring that higher consciousness into the world with my action and my conversation. I try not to let what I'm witnessing, which is the condensation of thoughts, into brutality, theft, greed, hate, etc. I try not to let that shrink my awareness. So it's a practice on and off the mat. So then I become available to inspired wisdom that moves me into whatever action is appropriate to alleviate suffering. So as a community, we can't do everything as a spiritual community, but as a part of our ethic, we support other organizations that do things that we don't do. That's a way that we move into action in the world.
Okay, but let me just get into this a little bit more, because I think sometimes when people, you have this saying, this will make sense in a moment, that it's not that practice makes perfect, but that it's about practicing perfection that makes perfect.
Yes.
And I think that, once again, this notion of sitting in a perfected state, and then it meets the trouble in our world. And I think what happens for some people is that they then go into heartbreak, or they go into rage, or they go into something that's no longer a sense of perfection, but it's a sense of response. And that's what I want to understand is, what do you do when those things come up?
When they come up for me, I go back to the mat and then ask, what am I to do? That's what I do. And then I try to garner the community into that kind of state. And so that they use their gifts, everyone has different gifts and talents, to be in the world, from the high frequency using your gift. So we don't deny what's going on. But after a while, this is years of practice, there's less and less reaction to the human foibles and dilemmas and hates and things of that particular nature. There's less reaction to it, and there's more response from another level. It's not an easy practice. It's difficult, but it's necessary.
Mm-hmm. Now, when you say you go back into the high frequency, I think sometimes people hear that and they're like, okay, what's going on? You know, the vibrations, frequency, the high frequency. Can you describe for me, Michael, first of all, what it feels like?
No fear. Just let go of the word frequency, vibration, all that. It's an expanded awareness of what's so. There's something that's timeless. There's something that is eternal. There's something that's real, that's untouched by human experience. And so when you're sitting, then that begins to be more real to you than the chairs we're sitting on. It comes as an insight. That's an event that takes place in your awareness where you suddenly or incrementally know something that you formerly just believed. And then through continued spiritual practice, you stabilize that insight. So you're living in it, you see. So it's like that question, how does it feel? It's like saying, how does spirituality feel? I can say what it's not, you know. There's no fear. There's no fear of death. There's not anxiety or anxiousness, you know. There's just an awareness of what is so. There's an awareness of the real. There's an awareness of, let's say, peace. You know, the peace I define as the dynamic of harmonizing good. That's what it feels like. Even if I look on the news and I see something terrible, I don't like it. I can have righteous indignation about it even, you know. But more and more and more, it's going to disturb my peace less and less, so that my response will be compassion, which compassion is whatever I do is about the elimination of suffering, you see.
The dynamic of harmonizing good.
Yes.
That's a beautiful phrase.
Yeah. See, a lot of people think peace is the absence of conflict.
Yeah.
The absence of something. It's not what that is. I mean, peace is like love. Love is not just the absence of abuse. You know, love is a quality. Peace is a quality of dynamic, harmonizing good. And that's what it feels like.
Okay, so let's say that we were going to practice perfection right now together for a minute. Will you take me into it? Right now, together, you and me.
I would take you into a prayer moment.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it, okay? So let's extract our attention from the world of effects right now. The world of experience, and we come inward. Now just remember a moment of pure gratitude, a moment where you were grateful for anything or nothing at all. And so we take a breath, release, and we allow this gratitude factor to expand. It is from this awareness of gratitude and thanksgiving and dynamic appreciation and my sense of oneness with life itself that I evoke this presence of peace and of love and of joy that is never an absence. And I allow the word that I'm speaking to carry the vibration of this peace for Tammy, for Michael, for everyone that is listening and watching in this moment. This word is now a law unto itself that only knows its own fulfillment, does not know obstacle nor hindrance, nor time, nor space. It only knows itself. I speak the word for us, that we may be an instrument through which more peace and love and harmony flows unceasingly without hindrance. The world is changing. The frequency of the world is changing because we are changing now. It is in this consciousness of oneness that I release the vibration of the word in thanksgiving that it is done already and is manifesting with an ease, a grace, and a dignity. And so it is. Amen.